You're listening to Hawk Talk with former Seahawks wide receiver Michael Bumpus. Powered by Seahawks.com. Now, here's your host, Nasser Kyobe.
Welcome into another edition of Hawk Talk. Victory Tuesday at the Virginia Mason Athletic Center. Seahawks get it done on Monday Night Football, taking down the Texans 27-19. Bump, and I'll say this, that game was odd.
It was.
It was a game that you felt the Seahawks absolutely dominated, but it didn't always show up on the scoreboard. But here's what stood out to me before we get into it. Mike McDonald preaches a couple things. A style that nobody wants to play. Through, not around. Decisive, relentless, shockings. We saw that defensively all game long yesterday, and we're going to talk a lot about the defense. The atmosphere was crazy, but building off that, what we saw last night, that's how championships are won. I'm not saying we're there yet. I'm just saying defensively, when you shut down the run, you play like they did, it can lead to great things, and I loved what we saw.
Yeah, and you just fight through some stuff. It wasn't the cleanest game, right? But you did do some great things. You helped them to what, like, third down percentage, which was crazy. 2 for something. I don't know, 2 for 14, I think they 14, were, something like that. You weren't great on third down either, but at least you didn't allow them to do their thing, shut down the run. So there are some positives. And honestly, when you win games like this, that's kind of sloppy, you let some points out there, you just build some type of callus. And it's a good teach tape. Teach tape is great when you win.
Absolutely.
When you lose, it's a different story.
Yeah, no, I love to learn things and win. So Seahawks did that last night. Like you said, it wasn't the best, and it was needed for this city.
Yeah. Yes.
It was a tough night, obviously, with the Mariners' loss, but it was great that Seahawks took care of business, and that's what we're going to talk about, what had happened.
See, what had happened was
On Hawk Talk.
I said it off top, Bump. It felt like the Seahawks should have been up 30 points. I mean, they were dominating this football game on the scoreboard through everywhere. But the scoreboard, actually. And the Texans just hung around. They're a good football team. We knew that coming in. But the Seahawks went 3 and out on their first possession, and then it seemed like Uchenna Nwosu had a sack. I thought it was a safety.
Me too.
I thought it was a safety. He tackled him, knee down in the end zone, ball in the end zone as well. Somehow his forward progress was stopped outside the end zone. I don't understand it. It is what it is. I don't want to get in trouble on this thing. But either way, another great play by Uchenna. Seahawks get the ball back. They would then get the scoring going with a 5-play, 44-yard drive to end with a 1-yard touchdown run by Zach Charbonnet, giving the Seahawks a 7-0 lead. That was set up by 2 huge catches by Elijah Arroyo, including a big 27-yard grab.
Yep, the Hawks would force a punt, and then the offense would march right down the field again. They go 10 plays, 80 yards, and with an 11-yard touchdown to JSN, a strike, giving the Seahawks a 14-0 lead, and we're going to break that play down later. The next 3 drives would end in punts, which included yet another play that looked like it was going to be a safety against the Texans. We'll spare you all the details. Just know that technically the play never happened.
Yeah, it was listening to the head official try to explain what happened and what your eyes saw. I've never been in a game where you should have had 2 safeties, but it is what it is.
Yeah, first time for me. It was funny because I was in the booth with you guys and Raves and Wyman when it went down, and listening to Rabel even trying to make sense of it. I was like, all right, man, I'm done. I'm not even going to try to understand this anymore. But the Hawks had a pretty promising drive in the next possession, but disaster struck when the Hawks dialed up a trick play, and Cooper's Cup pass was intercepted, intended for JSN. Look, you tell a receiver he's throwing the ball in a double pass, he's going to throw that ball no matter what.
Yeah.
Won a horrible throw, just missed a little high. But not a horrible throw, but I did scratch my head thinking, man, maybe we should have just ran that football or something basic. But if that play's completed, we're gassing up Kubiak.
Of course, and Mike McDonald said it in postgame. He said, well, don't you guys trust Cooper Kupp? And I do too, right? Obviously, things didn't go his way. JSN was open. He just missed the throw. Yeah. Unfortunate for the Seahawks there. And that led to the first scoring drive for the Texans. They go 10 plays, 60 yards, ending with a 36-yard field goal. That made it 14-3. The Hawks would then get a field goal blocked, which set up another 3 points for the Texans. Unfortunately, they steal some points. And it's 14-6 at halftime, and you're thinking, no, this game minimum should be 21-3, if not 28-0. So that was a tough way to go into the halftime, but the Seahawks came out, got things going in the third quarter.
Yeah, third quarter got a little weird. Started off with an interception by Ernest. We're going to break that one down, too. That set up Jason Myers' field goal. The Hawks would force a punt, but disaster struck again with Darnold was hit and sacked in the end zone, fumbled, and was recovered by Will Anderson for touchdown. That made the score 17-12. So the Seahawks responded, though. They got a field goal. And then the defense would step up again, stopping the Texans on 4th and 1. And from their own 41-yard line, a big play by DeMarcus Lawrence.
Absolutely. We talked about this last week when we came back into Jacksonville. He is a baller. He is a game changer on this defense. Huge with him out there. Love seeing him making plays there. From there, the Hawks would march right down on a short field. Zach Charbonnet finds the end zone again from 2 yards out, making the score 27-12 at the end of the third quarter. That scoring drive was helped out by JSN forcing a pass interference. He probably catches that touchdown on that play if that does not happen. And at that point in the game, Bump was pretty clear. Seahawks were in control. They were dominating this game. It should be even a bigger margin. It wasn't. But then the game just not got away. It's just one of those, like, you knew they were going to win, but it wasn't clean towards the end. Defensively, the Hawks kept the pressure on. They forced a punt, 2 turnover on downs. But then offensively, the Hawks turned the ball over twice. You go 3 and out. Before ending the game on the final possession, thanks to an unnecessary roughness penalty by Houston, you kneel it out. 27-19 win. You don't apologize for wins in this league.
No, he scored 27 against a defense that was giving up 12. So you're good to go. Saw this from Brady Henderson. The context on how much the Seahawks defense helped their offense tonight. Seattle had 5 scoring drives, and 3 of them began in Houston territory. That's always good. Shorten that field, allow your offense to go to work. The Seahawks scored 27 points, like I said, against a team that's only given up 12.2, so that is a plus there. It was a good result despite a tough day offensively. 4 turnovers, 2 for 14 on third, 6 penalties. There's a lot going on with that offense.
Yeah, and again, we've seen them at the highest of highs. This offense operates at a high level. They were going against a good opponent. We talked about all the dogs they have on defense, and they still, we're going to get into some of those matchups still, but you know what? I feel really good about this team, Bump, and they could be scary good. 5-2. Coach McDonald said post-game, we can't expect Julian Love, Devin Witherspoon, and then hopefully Robbie Oots back after the bye. This team at full strength. I love that Mike McDonald is finally in position where he has to decide who's going to play in the secondary.
Right.
I love that. So the Seahawks could be scary good. Overall, though, Bump, as we head into the bye, what did you learn most about this team on Monday night?
I think not just Monday night, the last couple of weeks, like, they're deep. You're getting quality reps from guys like Ty Okada. You got Job out there, Drake Thomas, and you haven't seen this defense all together yet. Also learned that they're the best when it comes to play action pass, and it's crazy because the run game still ain't hitting the way that you want to hit, but it influences the defense, and we learned that they can be resilient. That game was not clean on Monday, but it was clean enough to get the W, and you celebrate every W the same.
Absolutely. You know, I think for me, goes off that depth. This defense can be elite, like elite. This can be a top 5 defense. We said that on this podcast coming into the year. We think that's where they were heading towards. The way this defensive line is playing, like I said, when you get healthy in that secondary, this team can be scary good. And the good thing about that depth is if there ever is injury stuff, Ty Okada is not going to start for the first time. He has all those starts under his belt. Tyrese Knight's a guy who's played. So there's all these different guys getting reps and playing meaningful snaps this season. So love what we're seeing from these guys. But going back into who made plays, there were a lot of plays made on Monday night. Playmakers.
Touchdown, Seahawks! Playmakers.
Show them what time it is.
Holy catfish!
Starting off with Sam Darnold, you know, the numbers-wise, he's had some ridiculous games of late, so these aren't going to jump off the page. 17-31, 2-13, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. You want to have a couple plays back. I think we can all say that, but he played well. He stood tough in the pocket. You got guys like Will Anderson, Shair, you got guys in the secondary. I thought Darnold did what he needed to do to help this team win, made some big throws, and I still love the way he's playing.
Yeah, you know, when you set the bar so high, he does it himself. When he has a game like this, it's easy for you to look at the numbers and wonder what happened when you watch the game. He made some throws, man, and it was a battle. It happens that way. JSN had himself another good day. 8 receptions, 123, 1 touchdown. He became the second player in franchise history to record 3 straight 100-yard games, and his 5 100-yard games this season are tied for the second most in franchise history, which is crazy. He's got a lot more to do. Now, before this year, he only had 3 100-yard games. JSN has at least a 26-yard reception in every game this season. He has 819 yards this season, best in the NFL. And per ESPN research, it's the most over a 7-game span in Seahawk history. Steve Largent had 757 in 1984 and 85 season. That puts him on pace for 1,989 yards, 11 yards shy of the first 2,000-yard season from a wideout in the NFL. Who has the record for most yards in a season?
Calvin Johnson,
right? Calvin, and then it's Cooper.
Yeah, it's like it's like 19 something.
Yeah,
it was close.
Yeah, he's doing things, man. He's making it look easy, and he started off kind of slow too. And we're used to 40-something yard receptions. This week he got a little 26
only had 26. Yeah. I mean, anytime you're on a list, you talk about Calvin Johnson and even one of your teammates, Cooper Kupp, when you were in the Triple Crown. I mean, that is outrageous. that's to continue at this pace all year is going to be hard, obviously, but I don't put anything past this man because what we're seeing week in and week out. Talk about the running backs, Ken Walker, Zach Charbonnet. Ken Walker, 17 carries, 66 yards from the long of 16, and then Zach Charbonnet, 12 carries, 49 yards, 2 touchdowns. Again, the run game isn't statistically where the Seahawks want to be. I know they want to correct a lot of things, but we're seeing glimpses of it. It's just about putting it all together.
You know what I saw today? K9 is tied for the most explosive runs in the NFL, and they don't feel like it.
You would never think that
Never
at
think
all.
that. Nah, tied for first. It's like 5 running backs with 5 explosive runs. But, yeah, so there's an indicator, too. It might not be all at one time, but, yeah, he's moving that thing. Ernest Jones had 11 tackles, led the team, 1 TFL, 1 pass defended, 1 interception. He's got 3 on the year now. The guy's leading the NFL in interceptions. Devin Lloyd with number 4 linebacker. Right. And then Ernest is like tied for like 4th or 5th or something with 3 interceptions. He just finds himself in the right spot.
No, I mean, he's been a leader since day one he showed up here. Love what Ernest is doing. Again, solidifying the middle of that defense and where we were hurt for a lot of years, you know what I'm saying? So love what Ernest is doing there. And then Ty Okada, got to shout him out because when we interviewed him on Hawks Live, it is unreal. This man never played defense until he got to college, was a walk-on at Montana State, was a quarterback. Yeah. He said that on his film that they sent to Montana State, one of the plays they included was an interception of his because he ran down and knocked the dude out.
Lit him up.
Love what we're seeing from Ty. 9 tackles, 6 solo, 1 sack, 1 TFL, 1 pass defense, 1 QB hit. And you talk about just a journey as someone who's been through a road to be starting games in the National Football League. Yeah. Love what we're seeing out of Ty Okada at Montana State.
Yeah, and D-Law, DeMarcus Lawrence, once again, 2 tackles, 1 sack, 1 quarterback hit, and 2 TFLs. We did a whole segment on him in the pregame show. Him, the defensive line, but we highlighted DeMarcus Lawrence, and him being healthy has done wonders for this defensive line. This group, 3rd in the league, I believe, in sacks with 23, and he's a big reason for that.
Oh, no question about it. D-Law is doing some things. Then Drake Thomas, another name that you wouldn't have thought that we'd be talking about at this point in the year, but he's balling out of North Carolina State. He had 5 tackles, 5 solo, 2 TFLs, 3 passes defended, which you love to see that. 1 QB hit. He's playing real well. You know, he's kind of emerged above Tyrese Knight, but they're both in there competing week to week every time we talk about it. And then Bump, defense as a whole, man. I mean, 3 sacks, 7 QB hits, 10 TFLs, 12 passes defended, 1 interception. This defense is balling out. Again, like I said, they can be elite, and they are showing you that right now.
All 3 of their sacks were on 3rd downs, too. So you're forcing them to put it on the foot. So I love seeing that. All right, let's get to this wide receiver roundup. Already talked about JSN. 8 for 123. Elijah Royal, 4 for 42. You got Cooper Kupp, 1 for 32. You got A.J. Barner, 1 for 7. Charbonnet had 2 for 6. Bobo had 1 for 3. Horton, no targets. I had 3 targets. Sorry, 3 targets, no receptions. Decent day from this group. Like I said, Sam has set the bar so high. When I look at these, it feels a little off, these numbers, because they have set the bar high as well. But you got that W. Yeah,
and sometimes you look at it and you say, hey, I would love to see other people get more targets. You have the best receiver in the National Football League.
The game.
If I see a stat line and Jason doesn't have at least 12 targets, we're doing something wrong. Well, that flips us over to the plays of the game. Again, JSN is a staple in this segment because of what he does on the field each and every week. As we break down some of the biggest plays in the game, we're going to start with Sam Darnold finding Jackson Smith and Jigba for an 11-yard touchdown.
1st and 10 inside the 15. Looks, throws, fires to the end zone. Ball is caught. Touchdown! Seahawks! Dunking it over the bar is Jackson Smith and Jigba. And flags go down because you can't do that as he grabbed the bar, and that can make the whole goalpost wiggle and get out of alignment. But the touchdown stands. The 4th touchdown of the year for JSN from 11 yards out.
All right, here's what we got. We got, I believe that's A.J. Barner. He starts on the left side of the formation. He motions to the right side. You see that linebacker go with him. Linebacker or safety go with him. So that tells you that is man. You got K9 who motions out a little bit. You see that adjustment. But it really happens down here on the bottom. You got Cooper Kupp. You have JSN outside of him. How they're playing Cooper Kupp right now is it's a bracket. Right? You got that DB who's going to pass Cooper Kupp off to his safety. Right? It's just their rules, it looks like, when it comes to this deep cross. What that does is it creates create some space for Jason to work on the outside. Because number 5 is so focused on Cooper Kupp and passing the ball to a safety, he creates a window for Jason to work in. Now let's get to JSN. This is one of the more violent routes I've seen him run. I think week by week, man, I'm watching him grow in his route running. So he's just running a simple bang route. All right, you get to your right foot, boom, stick it outside. You've widened the DB to create even more space from that DB that's running across with Cooper Kupp. Stick your foot in the ground, and listen, good route, better throw. Sam Darnold stands in there and throws a dart to JSN. JSN makes a catch, and he dunks that thing. So now if we focus on this offensive line, all right, you under center, you get back to your 7-step drop, and one of your linemen gets beat. He gets beat, but you stand in there, you stand tall, you get hit in your chest. I'm talking about Sam Darnold, and still has enough power to drive that ball through 2 defenders. Sam Darnold is showing just his arm talent.
Oh, my goodness. Paul Moore has been on this kick this whole year that he might be the most talented, not necessarily the best already, but the most talented quarterback in Seahawks history, and he's putting on display week after week. And Bump, you nailed most of it, but, like, first of all, JSN, who's matched up on him in the secondary? I believe that's Mr. Stingley.
Is it?
That is an all-pro player right there. So that just shows you, again, the level of Jackson Smith and Jigba, how he is playing football right now. Again, the violence of the route, I love that. You mentioned pressure up the middle. Darnold, just a subtle, holds a safety just enough, subtly looking at Cooper Kupp across the middle, boom, fires a dart, touchdown Seahawks. That connection is so wild considering this is the first year they're playing together. You'd have think they played together for a decade. So week after week, they continue to make plays. And then we're going to show some love to the defense. Ernest Jones picking off C.J. Stroud.
Stroud steps up in the pocket, throws over the middle. It's intercepted. Falling down on the ground, getting up. It's Jones, comes near side. 40, 35, 30. Has a convoy. Knocked out of bounds near sidelines. Holy catfish, what an interception.
All right, this is rolling the dice right here. This is rolling the dice, right? You got Texans, they come out, and you got C.J. Stroud under center, but I want you to look at the corners. Corner at the top, I believe that's Job. Corner at the bottom is Reek Willen. You got a corner blitz, so what that does is stresses out the linebackers. Your outside backers now have hook to curl to flat. They got all of that over there. Right. They got a lot of space to cover, and then you have Ernest Jones playing center field. They're hoping that they get pressure on this quarterback, and he makes a mistake. You still got 2 high safeties over the top. Lots of space for route combinations to work, but why doesn't it work? Because you are able to get pressure off the edges. One corner occupies the running back. The other corner comes free. Get your hands on Stroud. Stroud looking towards the middle. Kind of got lucky here because Ernest Jones does slip a little bit, but the pressure has that off throw. Ernest Jones being where you're supposed to be, kid. Sometimes you just get to your spot and good things will happen. That's what I saw here.
No, this is great. I mean, the Seahawks don't blitz often, so I love that when you make a call like this that it pays off. Again, corner blitz, that you're putting a lot of stress on the linebackers as well as the 2 high safeties because that's a lot to cover. The way it broke out, though, you essentially had 5 covering 3 with the 3 underneath, 2 over the top. And then, again, Ernest Jones does a great job getting depth, opening his hips. Again, he slips, which you don't love there, but still to make that play to still intercept that ball is great. I love that. Josh Jobe, you mentioned it, setting the pressure there. And then at the end of this play, it's unfortunate what happened with Chenna Nwosu here. Well, back in the day, that was just called a football play.
It was just a play.
That was just a normal run-of-the-mill. You know when there's a turnover or on punt, when you're chasing someone down, you need to keep your head on a swivel because someone's looping back typically. That just is what it is. It was unfortunate for that, but I love what we're seeing from Ernest Jones in this defense and Bump. Like it, just making plays, play after play.
And honestly, it could have been a lot more violent than that. He took it easy on him.
That's what I thought.
He took it easy on him.
Maybe it would have been better if he put the hands up or if he just like went there and shielded him and stopped. I don't know what you do there, but again, it is what it is. This team is playing at a high level, setting us up for our favorite formation every week, the victory formation.
Here comes the Seahawks offense onto the field and the Vikings defense trudging out there, knowing that one kneel down and the Seahawks are going to wind the clock down and win this one.
It's the victory formation on Hawk Talk.
Seahawks take care of business at Lumen Field as it should be. That's what's right in the world. Taking care of business, winning at home. It's a tough place to play. And I mentioned earlier, the 12s were rocking. Like, we were down on the field. Bump had a little feature going on there, and it was loud. It was absolutely loud. The 12s were bringing it, and the Seahawks defense thrived off of that, and they showed what they're going on. And it was, like I said, much-needed result. The Mariners had a tough loss in Toronto during that game, and the fans needed some good news. And, of course, our Seahawks are here to bring it to everybody, and it was good to see.
Yeah, you did turn the ball over 4 times, 2 for 14 on third down, but you know what? You got it done. JSN keeps showing the NFL, I might be the best in the game right now. This level of production is crazy, but at the end of the day, it was about the defense. They shut it down. They had 3 sacks, 7 QB hits, 10 TFLs, 12 passes defended, 12. I had to double check that when Moyer said it. I'm like, 12 passes defended, goodness. And 1 interception, held the Texans to 56 yards rushing on 25 carries. That's some good stuff. 25 of those came on a scramble by C.J. Stroud.
Yeah, no, just dominant. Again, elite level defense. You hear me continue to say that because that's a defense you don't want to play. Lining up snap after snap, just grinding them down. And, man, like I said, this team can be fully healthy coming out of the bye week.
Let's go.
And they can put the rest of the NFL on notice because there's not a game on the schedule where you look at and go, I don't know if they – yeah, there's going to be great teams that are going to play, and the Seahawks are going to have to play well, but they're in a position that they can really stack wins and get this thing done. And I'm excited because I think we're going to be talking about some playoff games deep in January.
Yes, sir.
But again, that's a way in the future. We're going to keep it going week to week. The bye week, there's no game coming up this week, so we'll be back with you next week previewing a primetime game on Sunday Night Football against the Washington Commanders. Again, the Seahawks get it done on Monday Night Football against Houston Texans. He's Michael Bumpus. I'm Nasser Kyobe. This has been Hawk Talk.